Hello, everyone. It's your boy Terrence here, back with Hollywood Already Did It, and I just got out of the theaters from watching Ma, starring Octavia Spencer from Blumhouse Pictures. This new suspense thriller with this crazy woman messing around with these young kids. All right, now I'll let you know after the jump if it was worth checking out in the theaters or if it was just nah. See you guys on the other side. All right, guys. So in Ma, Octavia Spencer plays a woman named Suzanne who befriends a bunch of high school kids, 16, 17-year-olds, by buying them alcohol so that they can have a good weekend. And in addition to giving them alcohol, she eventually says, you guys, instead of being out there in the streets doing all this crazy stuff, drinking and driving, you guys come use my place as a respite and we'll have a good time, all right? And she does that, but the question is, does she do it for ulterior motives, or is she just being a good Samaritan? No, she's damn crazy. She's doing this for ulterior motives. So that's the gist of the film. Without going into specifics, without going into details, although I feel like the trailers do a lot to tell you the majority of the meat of this film, which I think might have been played out a little bit better had you just watched the movie. But we'll get into that here. So if you haven't been here, I'm going to talk about the likes, the dislikes, and where I rate it as far as our ranking scale here. So as far as the likes, number one, Octavia Spencer does a fantastic job in this movie. I don't know if this was her passion project or if she just wanted to do this on the sides, but she dives fully into this B horror movie type stuff, and I think she gets it and exceeds. She plays the highs, the lows, the sweet woman on the outside, batshit crazy cuckoo lady on the inside, and I think she does it well, and there's layers to it. And I think this movie would be utterly unwatchable were Octavia Spencer not your conduit to go from point A to point B to point C. Two, the young lady playing Maggie is really good and really believable as a high schooler. In fact, her name is Diana Silver. She's also in Booksmart, and I feel like she plays older while being a high schooler in that film than here. While I think that's a better movie, I think she, again, can play high school, but this one she just feels younger. She looks younger. It just everything seems younger, probably because we spend more time with her here. And I think she does a really good job of being the audience's eye. A lot of times for these entry points into these type of worlds, for horror specifically, you need to have someone that you are seeing this world through. And I think she does. She carries it well. She does a great job. Out of all the teenagers, she's the only one, and granted she's the lead, but she's also the only one that has any type of character. The rest of the guys are all tropes, and she feels a little bit more layered. Three, I think the moral or conceit of this film is to shine a light on bullying. I think that's the whole purpose. I think that's the whole through line of this movie. And I think on its very surface level, it achieves that. However, and we'll get into my dislikes now. However, it all comes off like a made-for-TV special, an after-school special, if you will, about bullying and morals that happens to also have some horror stuff in it. And I think the trailers made this seem as if this was going to be a suspense horror thriller, and I think it doesn't do that well. I think what works is that I believe the first act of this movie is pretty well done. I think the build up to the kids and their interaction and her crazy works. I just don't think when this movie is all said and done and we land and we get to our final act, it doesn't feel like the build up was worth that payoff. That payoff, they don't match. The high that we go for, the build up to get to this very limp, weak finale that we also already kind of have seen in trailers. It's sort of just a waste, and you kind of leave the theater wondering, wait, why did I just spend an hour and a half doing this if this is all we came here for? And I feel like the talents of what Octavia is giving us it feels a little bit hollow, and they don't use her talents to the best of their ability for the payoff that they get for the final act of this flick. to fully flesh out the dislikes. One, like I said, I don't think this feels like a horror movie or suspense thriller. I feel like this is a drama that has some suspenseful elements, and it kind of does the bait and switch where the trailers make it seem more suspenseful than it actually is. Two, my biggest issue with this movie is that it takes some very wild swings with the script and just expect the audience to kind of be like, okay, well, I guess that's fine. The two of them, the biggest ones that I'll have to get into, they're slightly spoilery, but I don't care. One of them is with Erica, who's played by Juliette Lewis, and Suzanne, Octavia Spencer. They are believed to have been really close high school friends that basically fall apart. I won't tell you why, because that's not important to this, but they fall apart, but they were close and they know each other. So the first time that they meet in this film, there is no idea given that they know each other. I'm pretty sure that Suzanne knows Erica because she's playing the long con in the long game. But Erica doesn't let on that she knows who Suzanne is at all, which becomes pretty important towards the way that this film goes and the way that she reacts towards Suzanne. One, the second time she sees her, they act like they've been best boom coons and they're the greatest friends since sliced bread, and that they have a huge history. And the way that the film ends as if it is hinging on the fact that they were close and fell apart. So for you to have your two characters, you have Erica and Suzanne meet and not have any type of even just awkwardness is odd. Now you can sort of say that yes, you can play in, or you can say that the scriptwriter may have been thinking, okay, maybe Erica was so tied up in her life and they fell so far apart that Erica no longer recognized who Suzanne is. But it's clear that when they do the second scene, that's not the case. Also, everyone else that meets Suzanne recognizes her immediately. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. The other one that really just like, what the hell, is the kids do a mass send out to say all kids stop going to Maz. Like, Maz is no longer the place, don't go. And one of the kids is like the mouthpiece of saying, yeah, actively don't go. That she's in on it. She knows that something's wrong with Maz. She is 100% saying, nah, Ma's crazy. We can't go here. So then somehow the way that you need this movie to end is to have all of the original 6 kids that go to that house, that with Maggie and them go to the house. They end up in the house in the final sequence, and I'm just like, well, why are they back here? They've already said that no, none of them should be here. And two, Maggie's friend certainly shouldn't be here because she and Maggie have done extra work to know that Ma is batshit crazy. So how she winds up back in there, how all of them round up in there, is just convenient for the sake that the script needs to get there and makes absolutely no damn sense. So all in all, let's talk about how I feel about this film. This movie is in this weird thing where I don't hate it. It's not a terrible made movie. It's just a movie that has a lot of problems that is not helped out or carried all the way to the finish line by the talent of its superior star, Octavia Spencer. I mean, the script's so bad that there's an entire character that's attached to Suzanne, and I haven't talked about just because it doesn't make sense for the film, other than for a plot point for our characters to kind of escape or get away. There's no reason for this character to exist. So I gotta say that this film, on our ranking of Play It Again, Sam, Once Is Enough, or Give Me a Time Stone so I never have to think about this movie again, I don't know if it's this bad, but because it's just such a blah mess at the end, I gotta say, do a time stone. I don't want to talk about this film or think about this film or see this film ever again. And it sucks because I think Blumhouse does a pretty good job of quality. And I will say this, that I am happy that the box office succeeded for this movie, because to have an African-American woman leading a horror movie and it's doing well at the box office, has already made its budget two and a half times or more. Great. I wouldn't suggest anybody watching this flick. You're going to have more questions and issues with the film, and the movie's going to end. You kind of just going to go, wait, that was it? That's what this was for? And I don't want you guys to do that. It's not worth it. So If you've seen Ma, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you haven't, go ahead and like, share, subscribe to the channel. First 500 folks that arrive in the channel will be a part of the founders of the channel, and I'll give somebody something nice for hanging around and letting everybody know about the place, okay? You can hit us up on HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. We also have a podcast by the same name on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, anywhere that plays podcasts. Now, the iTunes one may be changing a little bit because they're switching stuff up and splitting things here and there, but we'll let you know where that is exactly soon enough. But on this current episode, we talked all about Godzilla, King of Monsters, and we had special guest Haley Mancini, who's a writer on Netflix shows and Cartoon Network shows, and also hosts a podcast called Godzilla vs. Podcast Zero, which you can also find wherever podcasts are played. But that's it, guys. I saw this movie so you wouldn't have to. No, but that's life. The A-list comes in handy again. Like always, though, I got my ticket. You got yours?